Hello, this is Megan Chappa, and I have to apologize that this did not go live on time because I had a scheduling error apparently, and there was an error sitting on my screen, and I didn't realize it. So please accept my apologies that if you were expecting to start at 8 o'clock, we have just been interviewing away and not getting anywhere. So this is Megan Chappa, starting now, a live event on Facebook with Tami Santini, and this is part of our live review series for all-inclusive resorts. And what that means is that I put out a casting call saying if you're a travel professional and you had a fantastic experience, like nominate a resort and you could only pick one, and let's talk about it and see who the winners are during this time of COVID, because people are really interested in what are the precautions, what is the exit like, what's the arrival like, what are the sanitizing procedures, that sort of thing. So there were some people nominated that had negative reviews, like they wanted to say things badly about a property, but just assume that if they're not in this lineup, they didn't get a nomination or we just didn't have someone nominate them. So all that to say, we're going to talk about one of the winners tonight. So, but first I'm going to introduce and thank my guest for her patience and for taking a second stab at it. So welcome Tami Santini to Travel Radio Podcast.
Thank you so much. It is awesome to be here, and it's great to have all of you join us this evening. Hello, hello. I'm Tami Santini, coming to you live from the beautiful but cold state of Michigan.
I just did an episode with a travel writer, Katie Spratty Joyce, about Michigan, and you have some actually spectacular things that I had no idea were in Michigan. So you
I
have
know.
quite like kind of an undiscovered gem over there.
I think so. I agree. Yeah, we got
Someone just
wineries.
gave a heart for that. That's right, the wineries. Crazy. Oh man. Yeah, have you seen the wine tower?
No, I haven't seen the wine tower.
It's this invention because of COVID times, I think. And it's this wood rack with these like cup holders that go all the way around it, kind of like this. And
Okay.
you go and you buy a flight of wine. So you go and buy 5 glasses and they stack them up in there. And then you take the whole thing to your table and you don't have to go back up to get wine. It's amazing.
Well, there you go. That's how you do the tasting. Get
That
that
it,
flight.
that's right. That's right. So Tami, we should make our comment again that we coordinated scarves, but not
Yes.
really. We're just twins. But actually, we are twins, just not to each other. So
Oh, pretty crazy.
now, Tami, I'm going to give you a chance to introduce yourself. Please tell us about what you do and where we're going today.
Okay. Well, again, my name is Tami Santini, and I have actually been a travel agency owner for about 13 years, a little over 13 years now, and am a specialist for destination weddings. And I've also now started a business where I am coaching other people in the industry to build their own successful and thriving destination wedding businesses. So I'm your romance travel guru and super excited to be here today to talk to you about Grand Velas Riviera Maya. Yay!
Yay!
Let's take a journey.
I love it. I love it. Yeah,
Let's
so
go
what?
to the
Oh, more props. More props. I love it. I should have coordinated with you because I tried to coordinate with Matthew, but then we both kind of we were like, we're going to beach attire, but then you can only see us from this far up, so it didn't work it. But that's a good hat. I like that hat. Yeah. So then let's talk about, arriving onto the property, what you were impressed about. Like
Okay,
maybe
so
even from the
arriving to
airport or
Grand.
whatever, wherever you want to start.
Okay, yeah. Well, obviously, with the airport and everything, when it comes to the flights and the airlines, and I mean, I've never felt safer traveling, like how thorough things are. So that's always good. And then,
Mm-hmm.
of course, when you board the plane, they give you a sanitizer, and instead of just handing out, going individually to people and pouring their drinks and stuff, you just get like a little snack pack. And so there's all sorts of precautions when it comes to the airlines. But when it comes to the resort itself, what I was really impressed about was just the protocol of you stepped up to like a screen where they did like a temperature check right away. And then they did like a pulse oxygen level that
Mm-hmm.
they tested on my finger. Um, And then, of course, they gave us some little towels to wipe our hands, but they did it in a fancy way, which was so fun. They
I
had
like
these cute
fancy.
little teapot-looking things where they poured the water on what just looked like a little dry, short towel, but then, of course, it grew as the water went on it. And, of course, I got all excited about that. So, it's just those little things that make it a little bit nicer experience and just like almost like a friendlier way to be like, we need you to wash your hands.
Yeah. Yes, it's more polite than just saying wash your hands. Just serve it to them.
Right,
Make it
right. And
fun. Yeah.
one other thing that they did that I really liked was, of course, my husband and I went and we had to give them our passports and
Yeah.
our credit card and everything. And they before they handed them back to us, they right in front of us, she wiped down the passports, the credit card. She put it on a
Yeah.
cute little tray and slid it across the desk to us. And so it was just a nice, another little touch point of like really being detail oriented about that check-in process and making us feel comfortable and safe. And then, of course, obviously, them being safe as well.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that.
Mhm.
Now, when I did this casting call for people that were, travel professionals specifically, because I feel like you know how to review and compare resorts rather than just like your TripAdvisor review, which could be someone's very like elated, I had an awesome honeymoon, or I'm really mad because I don't know, they messed up my drink order or something. They're not very
Right.
balanced. And so I wanted travel professionals to review resorts. So we had kind of a resource bank of
Hmm.
fairly reviewed properties. And the ones that were, and by fairly reviewed, I mean, if people were really wanted to bash a property, I elected not to do those. So these are just the winners. And on this winner reel, you chose this property. So tell us, why it was like a standout for you.
So the experience there, was definitely different. So when I was in Mexico, I actually stayed at 3 different properties because I was there hosting some agents on a wedding fam, and
Okay.
so I had that immediate comparison
Oh,
between
yeah.
all 3 properties, which is always good to do. There were just some special different things that they did at Grand Velas that stood out to me. And because this property is a higher end property, it's still a higher price point. It's cheaper than what it normally would be right now, but it's
Hmm.
still a higher price point. I just really felt like that agents needed to know really kind of the experience that I had so that they can be best prepared if it's something that they wanted to offer to their clients. Because
Sure.
there's kind of, it's kind of a give and take with certain things. I had an amazing time. I loved the suite that I had.
Hmm.
I could live in that suite. It was absolutely huge. They have
Yeah.
these like amazing huge patios. Like, so there were a couple days where it was raining a little bit. I could just sit out in my little covered patio, still be looking straight at the ocean.
Hmm.
Oh, take me back.
That's good. That's good if you want to go back. It left a good impression. That's nice. So
Yes.
then, what about? I mean, we'll let us walk and talk through our questions as we look at some of your pictures, so we can just get people right into the good stuff. So
Okay.
let's talk about the dining.
Okay, so this is a poolside lunch that was served to us. They do have pool and beach concierge there. So I'm at the Grand Class section of the resort here, and this is their infinity pool that you're
Hmm.
seeing. And so this was like a surf and turf lunch that
Looks
was
good.
that was served to me poolside. So I would say that expectation wise for me going, and this was my first visit to Grand Velas, so I had never gone there before. And I did have very high expectations for their food. I'm a bit of a foodie. I'm a bit of a food snob.
Hmm.
I will say that they didn't quite meet my expectations every time, but I never had a meal that was bad. Okay. It
Okay.
wasn't like, oh my gosh, that was horrible. I got to order something else. I never had anything like that happen. But you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's got a little bit different palette and expectation when it comes to this.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna put it out there that I am a little bit more on the high expectation, picky, foodie traveler side.
I mean, this is good. I mean, I appreciate your candid, nature of approaching this, and I like honesty. So this is good. All right, tell us about this fancy meal.
Okay, this was our wonderful meal at Piaf, which is their French restaurant. Super cool ambiance. It's like a 1940s type of vibe there. And what I really loved about this meal was that they had their sommelier who would serve the wine pair, basically a new glass of wine with each course of the meal. And so they
Sure.
did the wine pairing for me. And it was like, okay, here I ordered these things. And each time they would come and give me a little taste, and
Hmm.
swirl it in the glass. And oh my gosh,
Nice.
it felt so fancy. It was awesome.
It was fancy. That's good. And yeah, I love, I mean, and maybe it's because the resort wasn't quite at capacity. Do you want to talk about that? I mean, that they were able to give you such personalized attention, or maybe that's just the way this resort is. I've not experienced it, so I can't say. But will you talk to us about capacity? And I think that this next picture will kind of speak to that.
Okay, so capacity was like there was hardly anybody there. So I literally felt like at times we were there by ourselves. It was pretty
Mm-hmm.
crazy. So capacity wise, this is a big resort. They have 500 and some, I want to say they have almost 600 suites altogether between the
Wow.
three
Yeah.
ambiances.
Yeah.
And there were 25 people there.
Oh my gosh. And most of them
So
were your group.
no, it was my husband and I came before we hosted our
Oh,
group. So
okay.
this was our 3 nights by ourselves.
Nice.
So, yeah, so that was very unique for that. I've never experienced anything like that at a resort. And where we
Mm-hmm.
went after that was definitely not the case. The other places we went had like probably at least 40%, 35% capacity. So, so this was, so what they did was they ultimately just had one section open, which was their grand class, which is their nicest section. And they just
Okay.
put everybody there, regardless of what they had booked. They put everybody in the grand class, so everybody had an ocean front, so
Oh,
they stepped it up. They didn't put everybody back somewhere, where in the lower room categories, or do you know what I'm saying? Like they gave
yeah.
everybody essentially an upgrade, which was nice. But that photo we were looking at was ambassador, the ambassador pool, which is the family section. And we could go and hang out there. It's like right next to the grand class section, but they didn't have anybody out there wait staff wise. So it wouldn't be like we'd be able to swim up to the pool bar and get a drink or anything. But they did have chairs out and ready with towels and stuff like that. So we could go there if we totally wanted to be by ourselves.
Okay. All right. How about this nice picture?
So yeah, this is the grand class area where with their infinity pool. To the left, if you're thinking about to the left area, that's where their swim up bar is. But so this is their lounge chairs, which are all really nice and comfortable. And this would be where we would get our like poolside service, our drinks and lunch and everything.
Awesome. All right. How about this is the same area?
This is actually a picture of the ambassador section that I grabbed. So
Oh,
like I
okay.
said, they did still have chairs and everything available for us to enjoy, but there just weren't anybody, there wasn't any service or anything over there.
Wow. Really empty. How about that? So then,
Yeah.
now that I can see this, I'll ask you the question of, the topography of the resort. What is it like as far as hills? Like, is it accessible? How would you describe this resort?
So yeah, it's pretty flat. It's accessible. So I did not get to see the Zen garden, the Zen section at all, which is kind of behind the Grand Class and Ambassador. So it's kind of tucked away at the resort. So I didn't get a chance to like go there. They wouldn't even let you walk there.
Oh,
And so I didn't even get a feel for how far away it was. But I do know that they have like golf court carts and that sort of thing. So if
mm-hmm.
somebody was at the beach and they needed help getting back to their suite in the Zen section, then they'd be able to get some help with that. But it was all flat. It wasn't like a bunch of stairs or anything like
Okay.
that.
And to just, I don't know if you mentioned it, but the Zen area is more like in the jungle, garden theme
Yeah.
versus,
Yep.
yeah.
All surrounded
Okay.
by the jungle. They've got a couple of restaurants. They've got a really nice
Okay.
pool area back there. And that's a section that people can like um, buy out the whole section if
Oh,
they want.
nice.
So
Yeah.
that's a really cool feature of that resort for sure. It's
Yeah.
like 200 and some suites still. So it's big, but
Yeah.
if you do like corporate events or whatever,
Yeah.
uh,
That sounds super exciting. I mean, just thinking about any event sounds so exciting right now.
it sure does.
Yeah. Okay. So this picture is amazing.
This is me in the infinity pool all by myself. Again, lots. I mean, I really liked that.
Huh.
I mean, but here's the thing. That's why we have to know, what do our clients want? What are they expecting, right? Because if anybody's apprehensive about traveling right now because they're afraid they're going to be surrounded by people all over the place, and that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
this resort is, at the time that I went, but even I would say now, I'm sure it's not full capacity. There's just so much space here to spread out. And then
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
everybody is nervous at all too. Like, the suites are so big that,
Yeah.
you can still have a nice experience, even if you wanted to have some time in your suite. Just get the ocean front and enjoy the setting. But yeah, this is the infinity pool, and I all by myself there. And here's the
Yes.
beach. Oh, get that sunscreen. Get our sunscreen. Let's go to the
Another
beach.
prop.
Yes.
And sunscreen. I mean, so important. So how? I mean, okay. So this beach looks very nice and sandy. Is it swimmable? Is it rocks under there? What's it like?
So, of course, Riviera Maya, we know that there's going to be some natural coral. There are some areas where there's natural coral, but there's some swimmable areas too, and it's just pretty obvious,
Mm-hmm.
um, where you can go for that. But the beach is really nice, really soft sand, and you can take extremely long walks on this
Oh,
beach for
good.
sure. But nice and deep and spacious. So it's not, narrow where you're like, it gets crowded or anything like that.
You
Um,
don't have to like squeeze past people.
right, right.
Yeah. Cool. Well, then what about tipping on property? Is this a place where it's appropriate, or so? Because some
For
resorts
sure.
are like it's not appropriate. Don't even like let them ask like that kind. What is it like here?
Okay, so tipping for sure. You want to have cash for tips. This is a higher touch, higher class level of service. So
Mm-hmm.
because you've got a pool concierge, a beach concierge, like, everyone there is wants to help you, is willing to help you. So
Okay.
we had one day, my husband and I we saw another couple. Oh my gosh, a sighting, another humans. But anyway, we saw this other couple, and they had these coconuts, fresh coconuts. They were drinking their coconut water, and we were like, "Hey, where do we get one of those?" So then all these people were like trying to help us, and the bellman was trying to help us, and our concierge was trying to help us. Well, then we were off doing whatever. We probably went for a walk on the beach or whatever, and they couldn't find us. So they brought him to our room, left him in our room. And then on the day that we left, the bellman felt so badly that he never got him for us. He had him waiting for us to
Oh,
take in our drive, our transfer to our next resort. He knew we were getting ready to leave, so he handed him over to us. So everybody is willing to help, and
okay.
everybody gets a personal concierge. And so it's not like personal butler type thing, but it's definitely more than the typical concierge.
Okay.
Um, and you get like you can get one load of laundry done for free. So we did have our laundry done. Um,
Going home
and
with clean laundry is so nice.
so yeah, so that was really nice. And my stuff was like perfectly, I've never had a t-shirt look that good. Do you know what I mean? It's like they
Yes.
iron it, they do everything. I'm like, you guys need to like come and like live with me.
I tip well.
Yeah. So
Ah,
so yeah. So there are a lot of nice extra touches, but they're all just, really, really wonderful people, and they go above and beyond. So extra,
Sure.
really great service there.
So, are dollars accepted, or you want to do an
Oh
exchange?
yeah. No, dollars are fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then, we've mentioned now that there's a concierge service. Is butler service an option?
If it is, I am not aware of it. I think that they
Okay.
have like they consider like a butler in a couple of the higher end rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I am not 100% on what that all entails there at
And
at
I
the
mean,
Grand Villas.
that's fine. I mean, it sounds like there's great service anyway, so you might not even you might
Yeah.
not even need that personal butler. That might, but maybe. I mean, it's important to some people, so I thought I would ask.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they have
So.
really nice, like big family suites, 2 bedroom suites, and this is definitely, when it comes to like kids amenities, they have you covered. So
Mm-hmm.
for those discerning travelers with little ones, they have a really great program for that, and they just have everything. So if you need, the stroller, the crib,
Yeah.
the changing table, bottle warmer, you name it. They give you toys. They give you all kinds of things, and then they have these cute little like teepees that they do for the kids in
Fun.
the
That's
room, and they
fun.
have like it all set up for them. And they have a great kids club. The teens club was really cool. My husband and I actually wanted to stay and hang out in the teens club. Um, it may be because they had like full size Reese's peanut butter cups in there,
Oh my
and
goodness.
Pringles, but I think too it was because they had like air hockey and fun stuff like that.
That is fun. That is so much fun. My kids, I mean, yeah, they just love to play air hockey. Yeah, it's fast. Anyway, we don't have to get into there, but that's good. That's good information. So, my assumption is that there would not be some sort of like membership desk or someone trying to sell you timeshares at this property,
I
and
did not
that's
see
important
anything
to
like
ask.
that. No,
Okay.
I didn't experience it, didn't see it. So, but obviously, they know that I'm there as a destination wedding agent because I met with the wedding manager and did
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
tour with her and everything, the site inspection with her, and learned more about weddings. So
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to be like dodging the desk when I have to walk around. They always put the desks like at a pinch point, right? Like you have to go past them. And
Mhm.
I just want to relax. Like hit me up
Yes.
an email afterwards, and if I loved it, I'll call you. Okay. All right. So then, what about the spa? Was it open, and did you get to experience it?
Okay, the spa was not open when I was there. So what
Mm-hmm.
they were doing was offering services that you could have them in your suite,
Mm-hmm.
or they had the outside beachfront
Okay.
services that you could have.
Okay, that's good to know. And then let's see. Let's talk about water sports. Do they offer any water sports or equipment on property?
They do. They have a water sports area, and they've got some people there to help you. So they have Hobie cats and kayaks
Okay.
and paddle boards and all of that fun stuff. And then of course they can take you out if you need help with any of those things.
Yes, I do. I'm doing capsizing. I'll capsize the Hobie cat. That'll be me. Oh my goodness. I'll wear a life jacket. Don't worry, folks. So, what about golfing at the property in proximity? Any information on golfing?
So for golf, they do have, I guess it's included with their all-inclusive package,
Mm-hmm.
one round of golf, and they've got
Okay.
two different nearby courses that they offer for that.
Okay, great. And then we mentioned it briefly, but we know there is at least one swim up bar on property. So, but that's not like it was in the family area. Was it
So
not open?
the infinity pool at the Grand Class section has a swim up bar, and
Okay.
then the ambassador pool in the family section has a swim up bar. Both of them
Two
are
swim up
nice
bars.
size. Mhm.
Nice. Cool. Well then, I mean we've kind of indirectly covered all the questions. So I mean like we've talked about them. I just don't need to ask them to you formally because we've done a good job covering things. And
Yay.
I just want to talk about, you didn't have to experience the checkout process as it exists now, but can
Right.
you talk about the checkout process now, as far as, new U.S. guidance for reentry into the country?
Sure. So, when it comes to entering Mexico in general, as of now, there isn't a COVID test required. But coming back into the U.S., we have that COVID test requirement. So these resorts, of course, are offering the essentially their rapid antigen tests right on site, which are really, really fast and easy to get your results because, of course, you need them to, within 72 hours of
Mm-hmm.
boarding your flight. So what I'm personally recommending for my clients right now, because like I said, I've got some people that are traveling here soon for a wedding group,
Mm-hmm.
is that and some of them are like literally, they're only going to Mexico for like 2 nights,
Oh,
some of them
wow.
3. So I'm
Wow.
like, you pretty much just got to land and take your test with, the day that you
Yeah.
arrive. But it's obviously it's possible. The turnaround time is possible. But what I'm personally recommending, even though you aren't required to take that COVID test prior to leaving for Mexico, just take it. Just get it, because if you have any doubt at all, if you have any fear at all that, oh my gosh, I could test positive and get stuck in Mexico for 14 days, like just test before you go, because you'll just have that peace of mind. And then obviously if you test positive, then you obviously aren't going to go, and then you're not going to
Mm-hmm.
be in that situation where you're quarantined in
Sure.
Mexico.
And
So that's just what I really.
I'll give people a resource right now. It's called the Pixel Test. I wrote a blog about it. You can see it on travelradiopodcast.com/blog is I think what it is. I should
Okay.
probably know that. But it's called the Pixel Test and it's by LabCorp. And if your insurance covers it, your insurance will pay for it. If your insurance doesn't cover it, they have a grant to cover your test. And it is an mailed to your home test. And you
Okay.
self swab and you don't have to scrape your brain. And then I think the turnaround is 72 hours. But in my neighborhood, on our like little group on Facebook, people keep asking for tests because they can't get them locally. I'm like, check this out, and they get them so fast, and they get the results. Like
Wow.
I think they email you the results, or like they email you a code that you can go in, and it's all anonymous. So,
Mhm.
or like it can be anonymous. So anyway, there's no reason not to get tested, especially because it's in an anonymous capacity.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah. Anyway, that's
For
a good
sure.
idea. And that actually the first person that suggested that, like, if you're worried about testing positive there, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll,
No, that's an excellent. Thank you. That's
yeah.
awesome.
But also, I really just feel like if people think, oh, I've been exposed, you're not just going to go take this thing. Like, guys, take some responsibility, please. Okay.
Right.
Anyway, but that's the end of my formal questions for you. And I think it gives us a really great overview of this property. But before I close out, like I just want to give you the opportunity to include other things about the property that I haven't gone over and that you would like other people to know.
So that's awesome, because I actually did want to share, because I know that everybody wants to know what the experience is like. And
Mm-hmm.
because I have actually traveled to Mexico 2 times during COVID, and I've stayed at several different resorts between all of that. I can tell you that this resort was much more flexible in terms of um, the mask wearing. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And that some people get nervous about that, and some people are good with it. And now it could have been because of the fact that there's literally hardly anybody at the resort when we were there.
Mm-hmm.
But they were okay with us arriving at a restaurant without a mask on, and they would just give us the hand sanitizer. They would open the door for us. They'd give us hand sanitizer. They'd take our temperature, but it was okay for us to not have our mask on. Now,
Okay.
again, it could have been because there weren't a ton of people there.
Okay.
So that protocol could change. Another thing was that they did actually serve us room service in our suite. I know
Okay.
that several resorts
I'm
are
not
not
doing that.
doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll serve you room service, they'll bring it to your door. It'll all be sealed up in bags. It won't be like your traditional, served on a platter. It'll be more like you just ordered some food from Grubhub or whatever. So
Okay.
it's going to be like that at a lot of resorts here. They wheeled the cart in, they set it all up for you. And again, that could be because of the size of the suite and their ability to do so just because the suite was larger. So I just wanted to point that out because that was definitely something different that I experienced at Grand Velas compared to other properties that I've been to.
So this is a question that I didn't prep you on, but if you test positive on site, do you know what their policy is? Like, will you be able to remain on site?
You know what? I do not know for sure what Grand Velas's policy is,
Okay.
and if they are covering that, because every resort, though, right now, of course, is doing something different. Some are offering insurance when you check in, that you pay like a small insurance fee that'll cover you if you do have to stay. Others are giving you, they're already just covering the costs, and they're going to be like, well, if you're stuck here, we're going to, put you up for the 14 days. Others are like, it'll be 50%. You'll have to pay half the price. So I did not check that before meeting with you today. Sorry, I don't know
Yeah,
the answer to that. I
that's
would,
okay. And everyone has to verify anyway because it's going to change. And the
yeah,
properties so far that are doing that are doing it for a limited period of time. And
right, right.
so I think that kind of because things are so fluid, the kind of the right solution is find travel insurance that covers it
Mhm,
because you just don't know.
mhm. Yes.
One question from Kelly Woods. Does this resort have a vacancy capacity, like only a certain amount of rooms can be occupied at one time?
I think that it's the standard for the country, which I believe Mexico is at 50% capacity right now. So they are allotted that amount of capacity. And I believe once they get to that, they likely will have all of their ambulances open. But,
Okay.
part of the reason why this property likely wasn't completely full, um, or full to capacity when we were there is, because it is a higher price point. And so people are more hesitant right now. And if they're going to travel, they're probably more like, it's not going to be a full experience. So I just want to go somewhere, and it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
fancy or whatever, so who knows? But hopefully, I mean, it's just, I got to go back. It's such an amazing place, and I really can't wait to experience it full on, for all its glory.
Yeah. So if other travel professionals have questions, are you open to answering questions for them? You
Oh
know,
yeah.
okay, cool. And then um, because we had my techno fail at the beginning, I don't know if I asked you in this take or the last take. Are you currently accepting new clients?
Yes, I am accepting new clients. I have a professional planning fee, and I am very, very upfront about that with people.
Okay.
Like, hey, this is how I roll.
Yeah.
Because let me just tell you about the last year I've had where, I just continued to work but didn't have any
You
cash
are
flow
not
coming
an
in.
isolated case. I mean, travel professionals need to be paid for their time. It's going to be across
That's
the
right.
board.
That's
So,
right.
where can people find you online?
You know what? If you want to connect with me on Instagram, that would be fantastic. At Tami Santini. If you want to check me out on Facebook, I'm at Destination Wedding Coach.
Okay.
But I pretty much hang out for the most part on Instagram. You can
Yeah, me too.
check me out there.
People are so engaging on Instagram. Everybody's nice
Yeah, it's
there.
fun.
Less politics.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me on the podcast today and for bringing props. I really appreciate that. That's always
Oh,
a
sure.
treat. You're the
I
second guest in a
know.
row to like throw me off a little bit, and I like it. It's a good surprise. That's good. Well, thanks for having me. I hope we get to do another interview of some sort sooner than later.
That would be fantastic. Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you soon in paradise, right?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I hope so. All right. This is Megan Chappa. Like I don't know my name. I fail at exiting all the time. This is Megan Chappa of the Travel Radio Podcast saying thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and we'll see you for our next Winners of the All Inclusive World review series tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Okay. Bye, all.
Thanks,